it himself, to seek and to save that which was lost. And what was lost was all of creation. Every ounce, every atom was lost. And he came to save it, but also to restore it. But he had to come. He had to seek. You know, as I was just going through the scriptures, I tried to understand. God has always been pursuing us. We sing of, Jesus says, I will pursue you. I will come. I will leave the 99 to find you. God says his goodness is what? It is pursuing us. His faithfulness, he's always coming after us. Why? Because we're a little wayward. We're a little wayward. Because if we think about this, understanding the purposes that we have, I think every human heart, we've talked about this, the biggest question of humanity is what? Why am I here? And I think we still have to understand that, but if we are disciples of Jesus, then we have to understand what's his purpose. Because everyone has the question, it's why am I here? We try to answer it. Again, we've talked about this, about we know that there's this missing thing in us that says, I'm missing something. I've got to fill it. I've got to find it. And we will do it with what? A career. And we take titles to fill it. I'm a pastor. I'm a leader. I'm a businessman. I'm a father. We try to fill it with whatever career structure we desire. We try to fill it with success, right? If the world says I'm a success, it fills me. That's my purpose. Bank accounts, houses and cars, and what the world calls success, followers. That becomes our measurement, right? Even relationships become whether I'm successful or not. How well am I liked? How many people do I know? How many, all of these things, and even pleasure. Do I have the time to do everything I want? But see, even religion can make us, we think we have a purpose. Achievements, trophies, plaques, certificates. I hate to say it, but religion's really good about giving those things that show us accomplished. I've got my divinity degree. My divinity degree. But see, none of that asks the one real question is, what was I created for? But what happened to it? Understanding why we have this void. We will search to fill the void if we don't understand why we have the void. What happened to it? Deep inside everyone, there is something missing. We're born with it. It's like having a jigsaw puzzle with the center of it missing. We've got the border. I've done jigsaw puzzles, right? We start with the border, and then you fill it in. But the middle is missing. We're all missing something. It's not always a visible missing. I mean, some of the most successful people in the world are missing what really matters. We don't always admit that we're missing something. We try to put on the facade. I don't need anybody. I've got everything. I'm success. Look at my life. I can tell you all the things I've accomplished. I'm still on the treadmill trying to accomplish more because I don't feel like I've really done anything yet. But that missing is always present. When you turn off the lights, you go to bed, there's just something missing. You wake up in the morning and it's like, there's something missing. So we get back on the worldly treadmill and we're going to attain it. We can get back in the religion. I just got to do more Bible study. I got to read more. I've got to pray more. I've got to do something to fill it. I truly believe what the Bible says we're missing is we're lost. It's lostness. Is that a word? I guess it is. I don't know. I thought I made it up. It's lostness. The central claim of the Bible is this: Jesus came to recover something humanity lost. It's not just to get us, to keep us out of hell, to make us a good people. Yes, salvation brings restoration, but it's not the purpose. It was to find what was lost. What was lost? Everything. All creation was lost. What was lost in the beginning, and I love this. See, we think that sin, we broke a rule, right? God's rule, his leadership. We broke relationship. That's what broke. It wasn't eating an apple. It was the relationship that was broken. Sin broke relationship, it broke identity, it broke assignment. The trifecta. When Adam fell, he wasn't just guilty of sin, right? He was lost. And not just geographically. We're not saying he didn't know where he was, not even understanding his intelligence. He's still an intelligent being, but he was spiritually dislocated, disconnected. Have you ever had a dislocated shoulder or arm or something? It doesn't work right. Actually, I have a cell phone. It's an older one. But if I turn it on, it powers on, right? It's got apps. I can do certain things with it. It's designed, it was designed for certain aspects. But if it's not connected to a network, what happens? Hello? It's not able to accomplish what it was created to do. Right? I mean, we all understand nowadays when we lose our network coverage, we lose our signal. See, Adam lost his signal. He lost that relationship with the Father in the garden. We're not connected. So we can't fully accomplish what we're assigned to do, what we're created to do. Because Adam it didn't destroy Adam. He lived on, right? It didn't like erase everything he was. He didn't become dust again. But he was relocated outside of that relationship with God. He broke the connectivity. The human race didn't stop existing. They just weren't connected. They lost that connection. Human history, it's a story of loss. I mean, it's a huge loss. They lost authority. Satan usurped it. Lost identity. Didn't know he was already created in the image of God. He was trying to obtain what he already had. That relationship, the connection with God, my goodness. And that dominion to be able to bring God's will and his kingdom into this realm and to make earth just like heaven was usurped by the enemy. And therefore, what? Lost his home. And I know we read in Scripture, this is not our home and we're supposed to try to get to heaven, but do you know we were created for this realm on this earth? And this is where we will rule and reign. This is home. This really is our home. It's what we were created to be and to do. We lost it. We lost the authority to rule and reign over our own homes. But see, from Genesis to Revelation, the Scripture reveals God is searching. He is searching more than man's trying to get to him. We have to understand he has always initiated the search, and he still seeks. Jesus leaves the 99 to go find the one, right? God pursues us. His goodness follows us. He comes into our being of this realm. He pursues us. Because why? Adam lost the relationship with the Father. He lived on. We live on. But he was created to walk with the Father. And when you read this story in Genesis and try to put yourself there, he is so one with the Father. He comes and walks with him in the cool of the evening to what? See what he has done that day. Isn't that awesome? Adam, I've given you dominion. Make earth just like heaven. And I'm going to come down and I'm going to hang out with you and I'm going to check on your progress and tell me about your day every day. That's how it was intended to be. To walk with God. Because see, sin didn't just, it wasn't like, oh, I crossed a line and I made a boo-boo and I told a lie or something. I broke a rule. It broke fellowship. Spiritual death is separation from the source of life. Physical death happens when the body ceases to breathe and to function. Spiritual happens, they lost it when the breaking that relationship, the spiritual death ensued. But see, religion tries to behave back into God's presence. We think if we follow some rules and we do some things, we'll be good enough to get back into God's presence. We're going to earn our way. Jesus came to restore us back, to restore us back into God's presence. Because see, there was a loss of relationship. But see, here's the thing, the first tragedy wasn't that, it wasn't just eating the fruit, right? Tragedy, the act was eating the fruit, the tragedy was running and hiding. That was the tragedy. Fruit, man, that was a bad choice. I truly believe if Adam, we screwed up, God, forgive us. I believe God would have forgiven. I think we would have a different creation. Running and hiding. It broke the relationship. Now humanity went from walking with God to hiding from God. And believe it or not, we still are. We still do. Even in the church, sometimes if we do something that we don't feel is right, we're going to kind of hide that from God, right? He didn't see that. The voice that once produced joy now produced fear. And sometimes we use that fear to drive us even in the church. Don't we use the fear of hell to run people into the kingdom? Isn't that how it works? But what's interesting is when you read the story, it wasn't Adam and Eve crying out to God. It was God crying out to his creation. Where are you? It's a great question. Where are you? Are we still trying to earn our way, trying to just make it ourselves the purposes of this world, trying to accomplish what we desire? Where are we? And it wasn't because God didn't know where they were. It was because man had lost the position, the relationship that they had. The connection was severed. It was gone. That relationship. What's interesting is God didn't say, Adam, what have you done? He didn't. He didn't even condemn him. He said, where are you? I mean, can you imagine the hurt? What have you done? That would have been I'd say that to my kids, what did you do? Sin relocates the human heart. Instead of being one with God, it is outside of God's connection. Our heart has changed. It's shifted. It's relocated. I use this saying, and so it begins. Now man is trying to get back to the relationship with God, right? I mean, it begins immediately because what's the first thing they do? Cover themselves. I'm not going to do that for you. I've done the fig leaf thing before. Not to be repeated. God was coming to them and they're trying to make themselves presentable enough to cover themselves. They're hiding. God was already, he was coming down. Did God say, where are you from heaven? He was there looking for them. God came looking, seeking. He was already coming forward towards them. But what's interesting is religion begins where relationship ends. It's true. If we have to live by rules, we have no relationship. Christianity is not about climbing upward to God. It's literally God descending downward towards man. It's always down from him. It's always coming from him. We can never ascribe to reach heaven. I mean, like literally, why do you think they built the Tower of Babel? We're going to ascend to the heaven. We can become just like God. We don't need him. We can pursue and become our own gods. Still do it today. Because see, Jesus didn't come to teach just truths or to start a religion. Even to make us better, to improve us, put a Band-Aid on us and make us look good. He came to recover, it's like a search and rescue mission. That was his purpose. Because in the garden, the first thing that was lost was identity. That's why we started with this weeks back. The first thing lost was identity because Adam was already a son before he was a worker. After sin, what does he do? He covers himself. He fears God. He blames God and others. Why did you give me this woman? And perpetuates this throughout human history. And we see this same actions today. Look at marriages. Look at how we behave in our society. We fear God. We try to kick him out of a lot of our things because we don't want him to see. We do sin in the dark, right? We always try to hide sin. We try to hide from it. I think he's exposing it in the church a little bit. Because humanity, they had forgot, he forgot who he was. He forgot, I am created in God's image. Why do you think Jesus says you're new creations? In Christ Jesus, we are new creations. Sons again. Because see, Adam didn't lose his existence. Humanity didn't lose. God didn't create a new humanity. We lost our sonship. Our identity was lost in that garden. And you know what entered, and you think about this, that separation, right? What was the first thing? I separate, I run, I hide. There's shame involved. It's an orphan. I'm no longer of the father. That orphan mentality entered immediately. And you think of the damage that an orphan spirit has. I don't belong. I have no connection. I'm outside of this family. The prodigal son story, I love this story, but literally it's not really about rebellion. It's about both of these sons forgetting who they are. They forgot their identity as sons. One couldn't wait for the father to die so he could go do his thing, but the other one didn't understand. He already had everything that the father had. Both of them lost their identity as sons because they stopped thinking like a son. Because this is what we have to understand. Lost people are not people God rejected. We look at the outside world sometimes with those non-believers, those heathens, and those bad people in Washington or wherever. We cast them as, rejects. God does not reject. He does not. He says his desire is that none should perish. Thank goodness he didn't reject me. I'm thankful he has not rejected anyone. Literally, the lost are people who forgot who they came from, where they came from. We lost it. Jesus came not only to forgive sinners, but to restore sons. That's literally what the purpose is. He's restoring sons. But humanity also lost dominion in that garden. They lost identity, and then they lost the dominion, that authority that comes, that God had given us. Humanity was given authority in the earth, but man, we surrendered that rulership. We abdicated. Instead of ruling creation, creation ruled man. And we still think like, okay, we got to save the earth because we're trying to rule this earth. We look at what we do. We serve creation. I mean, like even Paul was saying, hey, they're now bowing down to created images instead of the Creator. Fear replaced authority and toil replaced dominion. Survival replaced purpose. And you even hear that in the first parts of Cain saying, they're going to kill me. How am I going to survive out in this? It wasn't, God, forgive me. It was, how am I going to survive? The earth didn't change masters legally. We didn't lose the garden. He didn't lose the creation. He lost the authority. Satan usurped that authority. It changed representation functionally. We were operating as stewards. We abdicated and no longer had that stewardship. Jesus came to restore heaven's rule inside. It's not just in the outside world. We think of if we can see it on the outside, it's great, but literally it is understanding restoration. Restoration comes within. Salvation is restoration of original assignment, not just rescue from hell. Salvation is so much more. It is the doorway into everything the kingdom offers. We sell it as fire insurance from hell, but it is so much more. Because if we think about it, we have this transition. Like we lost our identity, we lost our authority, we lost the dominion in the garden. But man, and now you look at human history and what do? We start to build. We still build. Even outside of this connection with God, we still breathe. Right? We're still functioning, we're breathing, we're building. I mean, we do all this stuff. We marry, we have lives, we have success, we have worship, we do everything, but it's just not right. It's just, we're trying to build something that we just don't have the right alignment and agreement with, which is the Spirit of God. We can recreate it as best we can, but we're still missing. We're still building our own, out of our own desire and not out of our original design, which is the will of God. See, think about this. If I have keys to my car, right? This shows ownership, right? And I have authority. With this key, I can unlock, go in our convertible, and cruise down A1A and have a great day. If I lose these keys, do I still own the car? I can stand by that car, look at that pretty car. Wouldn't it be nice to be cruising down the road with the wind in your hair? I own it. I can admire it. But if I lost the keys, I can't operate it. And literally, we were created with all of everything to do for the glory of God, to make this world just like heaven. He gave us a purpose to bring his kingdom here. We lost the keys. We can't operate it. It doesn't function anymore without the keys. What does Jesus say? I came back. I've taken back the keys to the kingdom of darkness, to hell. I give you the keys to the kingdom. We're operational again. We are cruising again. That's an understanding that we can talk about it, we can look at it, we shine churches, we build cathedrals, we do all of this stuff that looks so good. We go to Bible studies and we do this and we serve in the homeless camps and we do all of this stuff that looks so good. But if it's not through the will of God and the purposes of God, it's not functioning according to his will. Because see, salvation is not just forgiveness. It's not removal of sin. It's restoration of operation. We become fully operational again. Going back to the garden. Which is why Jesus came. Why Jesus came. He tells us. He didn't come to start a religion in his name. If anything, it was the antithesis of that. He kept saying, don't tell anybody. Don't make my name known like that. Until after he was gone. He came to finish Genesis. If you think about it, it says in Genesis that he would come and do what? Take care of that serpent. He finishes the deal that happened, the fall in Genesis. He comes back to restore it. Yeah, he might strike the heel, but I'm going to crush his head. And he does that. Luke 19:10, Jesus gives us his mission statement. Do we stand up and say, God, this is his mission statement? If Jesus says, this is why I came, should we not say, wow, we gloss right over it. For the Son of Man has come to seek and to save that which was lost. I love the fact that he uses a past tense. He knows the end from the beginning. We're no longer lost. He knew that. He already knew that from the beginning. And before the foundations of the world were laid, he had paid the price that would win us back. Now, are there certain people still we would consider lost? Yeah. Are there things in this creation that are lost? Yes. He's waiting for the enemy to be made his footstool. But he says, that which was lost. He initiated the search, not man. It says he came to seek. He didn't come to create something new. The earth will be renewed. He came to recover something original. But I love this is God always moves first. From Genesis to Revelation, it is God coming after his creation. He's not going to give us over to the enemy. Why are we rooting for that? Giving people over to the enemy. Oh, just let them know. God has no desire. He called Abraham. He called Moses. Everybody in Scripture, there was a call. He pursued Israel, even when they rejected him. He pursued them. He sent prophets. And finally, God had to come himself. You know, Jesus is God searching in human form. The manifestation of God searching, of coming here to take back what was his. You know, we think that, oh, I accepted Christ. I have made a choice of salvation. You may say that, but he chose you first. He pursued us first. Before we said that prayer of forgiveness and asking him into our hearts, he was already moving. Before we repented, he was already there. He had already paid the price. He was already pursuing us. Why do you think you moved in that way? He started to fill that void. We can sense it. Before you believed, before you said, Jesus, he called. See, the cross is not man reaching God. It's not some emblem that we use that's going to attain us to heaven. It's God refusing to abandon man. He could have. Think about it. He was this close after the Nephilim filled the earth, and he was like, okay, this place is totally wicked. I'm just going to wipe them out and start over. But he found a man, and he pursued Noah. And Noah said, yes, I will preach that gospel for 120 years with 0 converts. He pursued. He did not wipe out. And he's still pursuing with his love, that chasing, that it never ends. We have to grasp that love that he has, because sometimes we look at this world and what some people do or how they behave, and it's like, God, just take them out. I can't deal with them anymore. And he goes, you know what? I love them. I'm pursuing them. I still pursue them. Even though they may know they're going to reject me, I don't care. That's how God works. We have to have that same principle and purpose, pursuing others with the love of God. And Jesus has a method to his madness, right? And I love his method. See, he didn't wait for the lost to find him. He didn't spend his whole time in the temple expecting the unbelieving or the heathen or those that are far from God to find him in the temple. Where did he spend most of his time? Among the people. They didn't put a throne in the temple for him to sit on for people to come find him. He might have traveled a few miles, walking daily, living among them. He went looking for the lost. The verse says he came to seek, meaning he initiated. That initiative belongs to him. He seeks. Because why? That's literally the incarnation. The incarnate God came into this realm looking, searching for his lost creation. Those hearts to change. God didn't shout directions or instructions from heaven. That's what I would have done. Hey, guys, I'm up here. Just figure it out down there. Get better. He didn't just shout it from the mountaintops. He entered the neighborhood of the lost. You know, we look at some of these cities where they have poverty and crime in these cities, and we say, hey, get better. How about go in there and make some change? That's what God did. He came into a corrupt creation to fix it, to save it. He entered the human condition and experience. Again, he didn't keep himself separated. You know, I think about some of the kings and stuff, or even some of the religious leaders, the high priest, they had a bridge into the temple so they didn't have to touch or see the common folk. They didn't want to get soiled, unclean. Jesus said, no problem, walking among the unclean. I mean, he felt hunger. He felt temptation. He was tired. There were times he was sleeping in a boat, was he not? I mean, in the middle of a storm, that might have been some tiredness. There might have been some fatigue if he's sleeping in the back of the boat during a storm. He felt pain. He felt rejection and betrayal. He didn't come down and leave this life set apart. He experienced everything that we've experienced. He says every temptation that man has faced, he faced it. Every aspect was conquered, was overcome, not given instructions on how to do it. He did it. And why? Because you cannot rescue from a distance. We love to rescue from a distance, right? On the internet, I can send all sorts of good words out there to bring help to people that I will never see. It's like from a distance, we're never going to have an impact. That's why I love the fights on the internet. I'm never going to change somebody's mind. I'm not in a relationship with you. I'm not even connected to you other than through an internet. See, rescue requires proximity. And we're going to get to understanding that the church, see, we think the church is going to save people. The church doesn't save anybody. The people that are part of the church are what bring the gospel. That's proximity. We're going to talk about that some more, maybe not this week. But love always moves toward. It pursues. Agape love pursues. It's always moving forward. True love doesn't sit back. Well, I'm going to love my wife if she loves me first. How good would that relationship be? As long as you do what I want and you come towards me, we're good. Love pursues. God is always pursuing. Why? God is love. He can't help but pursue. But getting back to this, Jesus seeks individually. We love big groups, big conferences, big churches. We love that. But Jesus rejected a lot of the crowds. He comes personally. He pursues us individually. When I read through the scriptures, literally there's only 2 crowds that he spoke to and he fed them and they wanted to make him king. Why do you think he avoided them? He always stopped, always had time for, always noticed the individual. Individuals are who he went after. The greatest stories of impact are to individuals. It doesn't say anything about the 5,000 coming to their faith in Jesus. They were just fat and happy. He stopped for a woman at a well. He didn't have to talk to her. By all accounts, he should not have, according to their customs. He stopped for a Roman centurion, one of them, one of the heathens, the oppressors. He stopped for him. He called to a tax collector in a tree, a wee little man. But the impact that he had, what does he say? I make restitution. I'm sorry. Because why? Transformation, salvation had come to Zacchaeus. And it impacted his life. He literally calls a blind man. And what does he do? He gets up and runs to him. Bartimaeus. He wants you. Wham! He's running blind. Have you ever closed your eyes and tried to run? Do that sometime. Don't do that. The impact was always felt on the single person. Think about that woman caught in adultery. What impact did he have on her life? How about the guy on the cross? He goes after the one. He left the crowds. He left the 99 to go after the one. He didn't call his disciples by a mass call in a group of 5,000. He called them individually. He never treated people as categories. See, crowds treat people as categories. We assimilate in groups and we start to have this crowd mentality, right? He never treated people as categories. Oh, you're a non-believer. You're an oppressor. You're a harlot. You're a thief. He never categorized those that he touched. Didn't even say that there was lepers. He just healed them. Never categorized them. God does not save crowds. He saves persons. And this is where we have to grasp as a church. For some reason, we have the mentality that the church is going to save people. I don't think this building has saved a single person. People within this body have saved lives to bring them to Christ. But the building doesn't save anybody. The kingdom operates personally, not statistically. Again, we love statistics. If it's a crowd, then it must be good, and let's go there. The crowd gets it wrong more than it gets it right, just if you look at human history. Because you're not a number in God's salvation plan. I think sometimes even those that get, I've had pastors that say, man, I'm all about salvation, man, and I keep track of how many I saved. Whew, good on you. But we start to wear it as a badge, right? Oh, I saved so many, there were 10 saved here and 5 saved. My revival, we brought so many people to Christ. We're not some number. We're a target of personal pursuit. God came just for you. God revealed himself to you personally. You didn't randomly come to God. You were located. He came after you. Because why? He came to seek and to save that which was lost. And we were all lost. To seek means he's seeking to find you. This is the purpose. To save means saving, restoring you. It's not just salvation. Salvation is not just a decision, it's a restoration. And this is where we have to understand that salvation opens the door to so much. To becoming sons. Just like Jesus. We start to take over. If we stay at salvation, we never know the purpose that we've been created for. If we're just waiting to get out, waiting for heaven to come or me to die, we have no purpose, then guess what? Salvation does not grow beyond me. It's eternal. It's supposed to expand. Because we have been created with purpose. Everyone does. Everyone has a purpose that they've been created for. Because, see, there was a great exchange. When we look at that cross, we have to understand there was an exchange made. He took everything that should have been on us. He took everything. He took what belonged to us so that we could receive what belonged to him. I mean, I think of if I'm wearing a dirty jacket, and I think it talks about having rags that were wrapped in rags, right? It's like, okay, Lord, I'm going to give you my rags, and he's going to give me the robe of righteousness. It transforms me. It's not just I changed clothes. I have changed locations. I've changed identity. Because what I deserve, I'm not going to be punished with what I deserve. I have been given all the righteousness of Christ. Because of the perpetuation of sin, he has paid the price to make us sons. It's not symbolic, it's literally a legal transaction. Why do you think it literally said on his tact was the King of Kings? On his cross was his charge of being King of the Jews. Of his claim as Messiah, it was charged to him, and that was his death sentence. He paid that price. The separation. Because see, it was sin transferred. Our sin transferred to him. Righteousness transferred to us. Because see, that righteousness brings us into relationship and it gives us access to the Father. We're part of the family again. It restores that relationship that was broken in the garden. Through substitution, he became what we were so we could become what he is. We're not sinners saved by grace. We are sons. We are transformed from sinners into sons with the full inheritance, the full purpose of the Father. I hate when I hear that I'm just a sinner. I'm just a sinner. We start to discredit what God has done. Did he not pay the full price on the cross? Was it not enough? It was everything. We're restored sons. See, the resurrection, it was true restoration. Because death is one thing, resurrection is a whole nother story. People die all the time. It's the resurrection through the Spirit that made everything change. Forgiveness cancels the past. That's why we call it forgiveness. It should be forgetness. Forget the past. We keep living in our past. We keep being defined by our past. We keep thinking we're dragging that, oh, I'm just a sinner from our past into our present. It doesn't. Forgiveness cancels our past. We're no longer sinners. We're no longer bound by sin and death. The resurrection restores the future. We have an eternity before us. It restores the future of what we were created for. The relationship that we were intended to have. It brings it all. Why are we living so down in the dumps? I mean, sometimes I wonder, like, God, help us to grasp the fullness of who we are. Jesus didn't come to make better sinners. There's no Band-Aids at the cross. He came to restart and to restore humanity. There is a restart. Resurrection, restart. There is a pouring out of His Spirit. Everything starts anew. And it's to restore humanity to where we should have been. Through the resurrection, forgiveness removes our guilt and it restores life. Only through the resurrection do we have life. He didn't come to cancel, just to cancel the past. That's part of it. That's forgiveness. That is awesome. But it's the relationship that it restores. The sonship that humanity now has access to. My goodness, we are sons of the Most High again. See, salvation restored. What does it restore? There's four aspects when I was thinking about what salvation is. Because see, here's the thing. Salvation is not escaping the earth. That's an end benefit at some point. If we don't bring heaven here, we get to go to heaven. It's recovering purpose. Because see, again, salvation opens the door to all the kingdom of God. Everything He has for us. Salvation restores these four things. I think of fellowship first. First thing it does, it brings us into the right standing. Sin separated us from God. We had no place in the presence of a living God, a holy God we had no access to. That's why they even had the veil in the temple as an understanding. It's separated. We now have fellowship. He tore the veil. God becomes Father again. We now approach God as Father, not judge. We can cry out what? Abba, Father, Daddy. I mean, I would not sit in court and call somebody Daddy. If He's the judge, then it's like, oh God, I got to do something right. See, it stops being, our prayer is not about performance. It becomes a relational aspect. Jesus didn't pray for performance. He knew He was going to raise Lazarus before He even spoke it. Why? Because it's the Father's will. He didn't plead or beg. He didn't have to. And no, we don't have to either. In the will of God, guess what? We have everything that the Father desires. The second thing that salvation restores is our identity. Identity is huge. We stop living for approval and start living from acceptance. Again, from the beginning, it was about work, okay? It went from dominion with working for God and bringing God's will into this realm to a cursed world where it's all about performance. And we have to understand that becomes, our identity has to, because of who we are, not of what we've done. The world defines success and who you are by what you have done. God doesn't. It's about who we are aligned with as sonship. Believers, we're not becoming servants. And again, I think sometimes religion teaches us we're not servants of trying to please God. We're sons learning to represent him. Represent. See, if we're striving to please through our activities, that is literally the rags that Paul talks about. Our works, our rags, because we're trying to please a perfect God. Salvation restores authority. Because again, with that identity correctly aligned under God, through King Jesus, we have the authority again. We stop negotiating with sin and start ruling over it. Adam was trying to negotiate with sin with what? A fig leaf. We've been negotiating with sin ever since. We have to take authority over it. The enemy loves to negotiate. The enemy loves compromise because that's what temptation is. It's not perfect will of God. It's just a little bit. Did he say just a little? And purpose. See, we have to understand, we're not just in a group called church. We don't just attend. We join a mission with a purpose. His purpose is now our purpose. Because the saved are not rescued to sit. They're restored to participate in God's kingdom. That's the purpose of the restoration. That's why if we stop at salvation, we lose the rest of our purpose. Salvation, there's nothing greater than salvation, but there is so much more. The kingdom purpose. He says, my kingdom come, my will be done. That's purpose. Saved people become seekers with him. We start to do what he does. We have to continue the mission, right? Jesus said, as the Father sent me, I send you. And we'll talk more about purpose next week because I truly believe understanding the believer's purpose. We've talked about purpose before when we think about our individual purpose, but we have an overarching purpose to do what Jesus does. Seek and to save that which is lost. His purpose becomes our purpose. The mission of Jesus becomes the mission of the church carried out by individual believers. Again, the building has never saved a soul, and it never will. The members of an ecclesia, of a church that represent Christ, share the good news in the gospel. That brings the restoration and salvation to the world. He seeks through us now. The church isn't a place where we just gather. It's a search party. Are we searching? Or we just think, okay, we plant a church and we expect people to come. Yes, there is the lighthouse effect, but a lighthouse is avoided. It shows what's rocky out there. We have to be people that are what? Going out. We gather together for purpose, trained, equipped, and sent. We do not exist to preserve comfort. I'm telling you, it seems like if we are not blessed by the world standard, then we're not real believers. We're not Christians. There's something wrong with us. Because we've been sold some of this prosperity gospel and some of the things that we've said, name it and claim it, and all this stuff that we think of as what God would want for us. We want the will of God according to his purpose. There are rich Christians in this world, absolutely. There are poor Christians in this world, absolutely. Do we judge them differently? The world would, but God doesn't. Why? God says, are you faithful with what I've given you? Some are given 5 and some are given 1. It's not up to me to judge. But what standard do we use? We use the world standard. If we stop seeking the lost, we stop representing Christ. I say that with weight because I think sometimes the church has lost its way. We're seeking the prophetic. We're seeking miracles. We're seeking all of this stuff. Believe it, we want to go where there's miracles and all this other stuff is happening on. Are we searching for the lost? Or are we searching for our next fix? I need to go get a prophetic word. I need somebody to pray for me. I need somebody to do this for me. We have this, we move wherever the crowds are. That's where we're going to go because that must be where God's working. If we stop seeking the lost, we stop representing Christ. Because, see, there are 2 types of lost. And again, there might be some subcategories, but I look at these as 2. There's those that are far from God. They've been running. They're not going to turn. They haven't come to the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ, and they have no intent right now. The world's got a hold of them. They still have the blinders on. But what I say is, the problem is in the church, we have the near lost. Religion has them bound. They're close to God, but we really don't know God. We know of him, but we don't know him. The relationship is through our deeds, our repentance, our penitence, doing acts. One's running away from God, right? There's a distance. God, I understand. Those are, we still have to chase after them. We go after them. But those that are near, they sit near God without knowing him. I could also call those the silently lost. They're near religion, but far from relationship. Religion's easy. Do this, do this, do this. Don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Good and evil. Eat the fruit. Religion's easy. Relationship is hard. We have to know him. Those that know him, that are called by his name, those that choose to submit, to know him. But here's the thing, God pursues both. It's not like, he only goes after those that don't know him. He goes after those that are near or far. He pursues, and so should we. I think about an empty chair. I was talking about Noah preached to empty chairs. I've preached to a few empty chairs. Empty chairs, I think they represent, and I loved what Charlie Kirk used to talk about. He would see empty chairs before he started. He goes, we have to fill these chairs. Make heaven crowded. I love his heart. We need to make earth crowded with God's representatives. But thinking about an empty chair, our families, I know there are people in my own family that are far from God. Do I pursue them? I'm sure as a pastor you think, of course you do. I don't. Sorry. Sometimes I'm convicted myself of what I do or what I don't do. There's empty chairs in my family. I got a brother in jail out in Arizona. I haven't had a chance to even talk with him. Why? Have I shown him? Have I pursued him with the love of God? No. Every home and every family, we've got an empty chair. Are we pursuing them, or do we say, well, no, I'm going to leave those in God's hands. God will do it. The church will save them. We're going to point them to the church. Maybe if I could just get them to go to church. How often do we say, if you just get them to come, just come to church? Like that's going to save them. You could share the gospel with them right then, right where you are. Because it's the relationship that God's created for each of us. We have to look at empty chairs. I know there's empty chairs in each one of our hearts, in our families, where we live, and where we work. Even in our work, are there empty chairs? Are there folks that are gone, that are just keep running? Or those that think they've got it? We have to fill chairs. And again, I'm not saying heaven wants every chair filled. God seeks everyone. He doesn't go for the crowd. Yes, the 99 is awesome, but he's going after the one. The 5,000 is great, but he stops for the one. The beggar, the tax collector, the cheat up in the tree. See, the purpose of Jesus is now through us. That filling happens. We fill the seats. And again, I'm not talking about stadiums and churches. I'm talking about lives transformed. The lost being found. See, Jesus didn't come just to make our lives better. I mean, sometimes I look at Christianity, it's all about, hey, am I a success now? Do I have what I need? Am I healed? Am I this? Am I successful according to the world standard? Am I blessed and highly favored? Am I blah, blah. We go through all of these things that we talk about, but truly, it's not about making my life comfortable, better, successful according to the world standard. It's not. He came to restore what was lost. He came to restore us to the Father. That relationship. He came to restore the family. Do we not understand the power of family? See, the world wants to what? Break apart the family. So the first attack the enemy has always had was on what? Marriage. He split Adam and Eve. He's always been attacking the family. He restored the kingdom, meaning his rulership, his will being done. He restored purpose. Jesus had purpose. His purpose to seek and to save that which is lost is now our purpose. And that's what we're going to talk about some more next week. Because he came to seek and to save, and I'm so thankful he does. And he still does. He pursues us with his love. I got a couple of quick announcements and we'll get out of here. This week, the marriage group is canceled, and so is next week. Joel and Kathy are away this week and next, I believe. And then the men's group is